Well, first off, I'd like to thank you for giving me the opportunity to interview for a position that I feel like is a great opportunity for anybody. Now, when asking me how I would describe myself, I feel like there's many things I could say that are already on my resume. So in order to help you get a better idea of who I am, I'd like to discuss some of my values. Two of my main values would be hardworking and also honesty. My hardworking nature comes from my competitiveness, where I never like to fail. One of my favorite movies is Will Smith's The Pursuit of Happiness, and one of my favorite quotes is when Will Smith says, "I'm the type of guy that if you ask me a question, I might not know the answer, but I know how to find it." Well, I'm going to take that one step further in describing myself and say, I'm the type of person that if you ask me a question I don't know it, I'm going to tell you I don't know it, but I promise you, the next time that you ask me that question, I will have the answer. Because I see that as a failure to myself. When you ask me a question and I can't answer that, I'm letting someone down, and not only I'm letting myself down. So the first thing I do when I go home, before I eat, before I shower, before I work out, before I do anything, I'm going to find the answer to that question and know the next time that someone asks me that question, I'm going to be ready for it. Another part of my values would be honesty. As a daily reader of the Wall Street Journal, I've been following a story about high-frequency trading firms using methods to overpass the common stockholder. This is a very frustrating issue for me. They're using various methods of back orders to overpass the common trader so that their orders get taken care of first on the market. This is a very dishonest way to conduct business, and it is not fair. This really gets under my skin because I love to win more than anybody. I'm one of the most competitive people you know. But if I find out that there is an ounce of dishonesty in my victory, I would rather not have it. That is something that I'm truly very strongly grounded in. I always like to stay honest, and I'm a man filled with a lot of integrity. And it is something that is very important to me. And I feel like those two values really encompass me as an employee because I am down to do whatever it takes to succeed for the company. But I cannot overstep my morals, which is I'm an honest man, and I'm going to make it in this business world, but I'm going to make it honestly. In discussing a significant event in my life, I feel like this really builds off the first question, helps emphasize my value as a hard worker. I'm going to talk about my soccer career. My soccer career started off anything but fabulous. After finally making it up from the B team to the A team, for multiple years I rode the bench and got about 2 to 3 minutes of playing time a game. We would travel across the country and I would still be riding the bench. And I'm not here to complain and say it was the coach's fault or this or that, because I deserved the time that I got because I was not a good player. But one day I woke up and I decided that I wanted to be a great player someday. And I put my mind to it, and I displayed my values of hard working and trained every single day to be the best player that I could be. Every Thanksgiving my family goes to New York. Well, along with going to New York with my bags and my clothes, I came with my indoor soccer shoes and my ball. So while everybody on Thanksgiving Day was inside watching Thanksgiving football, I was outside the streets of New York dribbling my ball and perfecting my craft. We go to Vermont for a skiing trip. I'm dribbling around the beds in the hotel room working on my game. This is my drive to be the best that I can be. By middle school, I was a standout player and became the captain of my team. Now, bringing together a middle school soccer team is anything but easy because this is about the time where boys really start to get their egos. I used transformational leadership and displayed my social and emotional intelligence skills to individually connect with every player to gain the respect I needed to bring the team together. Because when people don't respect a leader, the team gets split apart and it causes problems, and we need to bring the team together to be successful. By doing this, I was able to bring the team together and lead us to an undefeated season. By the time I hit my high school years, I was still training just as hard, if not harder than ever. By the time I was a freshman, I was the only freshman to make my varsity soccer team and started a majority of the games. Sophomore year, I was the only freshman to be first team All-Chestnut, and by the senior year, I graduated a high school All-American. I'm not saying all this to come off as a cocky man, because I am any bit but cocky. I know I was blessed with no athletic talent whatsoever, but I feel like that really displays my drive and my hard work that I display when I really put my mind to something, because I wasn't blessed with any of this talent, but I wanted it, and I wanted to be a great soccer player, and I put my mind to it, and I did not accept failure, and I worked at it every single day until I succeeded. In discussing something that I've learned in class, it's very difficult for me to point out one specific topic. So I'm going to start off with a broad statement of I've learned how to be a good employee. I've learned to understand the business world. And one thing that I truly picked up on is that how every company is different, and you need to work to succeed and fit into the culture of every single company. This really relates back to a story I heard from a girl when I worked at the Real Enchilada as a cook in Avalon over the summer. She was a 5-year Spanish member at her school, AP Spanish, standout Spanish student at her school. She then went over to Argentina for years as an exchange student, and she said when she showed up there, all 5 years of that class was a waste of her time because she was back to square one. She said that the language seemed like a foreign language to her that she's never heard before, and that's because it's tough to understand the exact dialect that they have over there because it's different than what you learn in class, and I feel like it's that for business. Every business has the general same model, but when you get there, things are done differently. People act differently. You have to do things differently, and that's what creates this difference in companies, and it's something that needs to be picked up on quickly, or else you're not going to succeed in the company. Another thing I've learned from class is also how to be a leader once you get into the positions of these companies. Ego is a huge thing, and office politics is even bigger these days. As a leader, you need to gain the respect of your followers. One thing that truly stuck with me is transformational leadership and having social and emotional intelligence. To be able to understand how people work. Every employee is different, and that's something I think I truly understand. You have employee A and employee B. Employee A might be a standout star who, if you're over his shoulder the whole time, it annoys him and it kind of feels like you're treating him like a child, and he thinks he can handle his business on his own, and he loses respect for you. Employee B, say you give him that leeway and you don't want to be over his shoulder, he's doing all this work and you're not talking to him at all. He feels like he's being left behind, and he feels like he's not being included, and he feels like you don't care. And these are the two different employees that could be in the same group as you. You could be running the same team with these two different employees, and you need to have the social and emotional intelligence to read into that situation and know that, hey, I need to give employee A a little less attention and give him his own space to do this, but I need to be on employee B and be like, hey man, you're doing a great job, I like that, I like this, don't like that. Let him know that I care and I'm watching what he's doing because that's what he wants. This is what he wants, this is what he wants. You need to be able to give both, or else you're not going to succeed as a leader. And these are important things that I think I've picked up on during this class.